Welcome to another episode of Beer and Ball. My name's Andrew Dagostino. That's my co-host Brian Gross. And today we're going to talk a lot about Major League Baseball, starting off at Fenway Park, where last night the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox met up for the first time this season, with the Yankees taking the first game of the season series 4-0. And Brian, I just want to talk the overall status of the Yankees in the American League East. And the Yankees right now are up two games in the division, sitting at 14-9, one of the best records in the American League, maybe the best record in the American League. I just want to get your overall thoughts about what you saw last night from the Yankees, and are you concerned about the Boston Red Sox right now, who are sitting at 9-14, kind of in the Mets territory?
Yeah, the Red Sox, honestly, I know this sounds kind of crazy. I'm gaining a little bit of hope for the Red Sox. Some guys are starting to hit a little bit. They started off like really, really bad. I was kind of worried they were going to fall into like a Mets or like a Braves last year territory. I think like they're just staying in series enough and winning. It's enough series to probably not fall too far back, but we'll see. That might just be my optimism because they were a team I kind of liked coming into the year. But for the most part, this is like the opposite of what we've seen with a lot of good rivalries. Neither of these teams are going to hit the crap out the ball. This is kind of what we like expected, big runs in the Red Sox rivalry. Not the case. That's a good thing for the Yankees, though. If their pitching's running, as we saw early in the year, that's probably a good indication that they're going to be winning games. They're not the hitting team that they usually are, but they can still mash, and they're more kind of situational mashing. So those big 2-run homers, those big doubles like Stan did last night, that's kind of going to be what they're living on. They're not going to be able to like nickel and dime you up and down the lineup like a Rays or, even a Guardians, Dodgers, any of those top offensive teams right now. That's not really how they're going to get ahead of you. They're going to have to get big bombs or big situational hits. So Yankees are looking good, though. I think they're just gaining more confidence. But this is kind of a new version of the Yankees we haven't seen in a while, which really relying on pitching. So it's kind of cool to see right now. But this series is just, it's for me. This rivalry's always been for me. So
Yeah, man, this Yankee team really intrigues me because, like you said, this is not the same Yankees where they just hit home runs all the time. Right now, there's not a lot of home run production. They've only hit 32 as a team this year, which in previous years I feel like they've hit a lot more. That could be ballpark factor. That could just be the guys they have on the roster. But not a lot of guys have been really getting going. We talked about Randall Grichuk not getting hot. He's batting 100. He's been just awful for them. Ahmed Rosario is slowed down. Who saw that coming? He only has an 802 OPS coming into today. And then like Trent Grisham, Josh Chisholm, who is bottom 5 in expected batting average, expected slugging, just it's OBA. Bad. He's been one of the worst baseball players in the entire league so far, which they were banking on him to have a big year. Had a 30-30 season a year ago. He looks like he's not even going to eclipse fucking 2020 so far this year. But like you said, they've been very reliant on their pitching. But if you look at the more deeper in the numbers and watch them, a lot of people shit on Ryan McMahon, and he's been awful statistically right now. But dude, he's hitting the ball hard. 60% of the time he's hitting the ball hard. So, and he has the highest exit velocity average at 94.3. That's top 5 in baseball right now. His expected batting average is low, same as his slugging. But to be honest, if you're hitting the ball 60% of the time, eventually the numbers are going to flip. So maybe Ryan McMahon becomes a factor later on this season. But the Yankees are going to need help offensively, especially with Jose Calbanero not doing anything. Giancarlo Stanton's starting to get back into the groove, but they got questions offensively. But like you said, that pitching has just been dominant. Tim Hill, all the other guys, Max Fried's been electric. Ryan Weathers, Will Warren, all of them have been good. But I don't really have any concerns that much with the Yankees except for their offensive production so far.
Yeah, if it stalls in the middle of the year, or if there's an injury to a Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Rice. Well, they don't really even play Rice all the time, but now I think he's kind of heard the noise. He went yard on a lefty the other day. But yeah, at the end of the day, if that happens, then you might have to hit the panic button. But they're able to get it done. If they're able to get those bottom of the order guys and the top of the order guys on for the Stantons in the middle of the order, they'll probably be living well. A lot of those guys are going to catch barrels, so especially in that ballpark.
Yeah, for sure. And they got a lot to live for, man. But I would do want to touch on the Red Sox a little bit more, dude. They have not looked great offensively. This was a team that was supposed to be one of the best offenses in all of baseball. A year ago, they scored a bunch of runs. They were top five in slugging. Dude, right now the numbers are not good. They're batting 233 as a team. They're only slugging, a league, one of the league's worst, 345, which I was very shocked about. Even watching them, I know they have guys like IKF out there, but we both of us were very high on Caleb Durbin coming into the year, and he's bottom five right now in OBA. So he's been one of the league's worst offensive bats. That could be, change of scenery, maybe more expectations, higher spotlight in Boston. But man, like nobody's really getting going. Like Roman Anthony, 234 batting average. He hasn't really been anything. Actually, Trevor Story has been really bad too. Batting 196. So like their main guys have been really bad offensively, and the pitching just kind of more of the same. Like a year ago, nothing too crazy. Brian Belo right now, he's just getting knocked around, and he's like teams are slugging 559 against him so far this year. That's almost at 600. So something's got to give. That's either an Arsenal issue. Maybe we talked about many times on the show how he starts off hitters. But it seems like everybody has just been getting hit hard in this Red Sox rotation, except for like Garrett Whitlock, like the relievers. But a guy that I want to talk about a little bit has been really good so far for the Red Sox is Giovanni Moran. Dude's been a stud for them. Their teams are hitting only 130 against him, but he's like a top five in like every single pitching, metric right now in baseball. Dude just fills up the zone, gets weak contact. But are you really concerned? I know I already talked about the Red Sox where you're just like you're not too concerned. You have hope for them, but why do you have hope for them?
Honestly, and I know this sounds crazy, not with Crochet. I don't think it sounds crazy with Crochet. I trust that he's going to bounce back. Him and Ranger Suarez, I just think are too good of a 1-2 punch. I don't think Garrett Crochet is going to be living in the sevens this year. I don't think he's going to be giving up 5 home runs every 5 starts. I'll take the bet on that one, plain and simple. Sonny Gray, I think, will start to get it together. There's just a lot of moving pieces on this team. But you mentioned, right, Moran, Whitlock, these guys, especially Chapman, of course, who's already had a great start to the year. Even Danny Columbi, these guys have a pretty good bullpen. Pitching depth goes kind of deep, so if they can keep them in close enough games early on and they can shred some early wins, bunting guys over, just getting small ball wins, once they start catching barrels, I see this team really taking off and getting on a nice win streak, hopefully, for the Red Sox bettors like myself. You still got guys like Abreu and Wilson Contreras who's hitting the crap out the ball. Roman Anthony's obviously had a very tough power start. He has walked 16 times, though. So at least he's taking his walks. You don't want him to be impatient, but at some point he's got to start getting a little more aggressive. But I think a guy like that, the barrel will come. It's just early in the year. And they've also been factored. They've kind of gotten similar to the Guardians where they've been on the road a ton. They finally had their Boston Marathon game the other night. It was cold, rainy. So, it's hard to hit in Boston early in the year. They're always a summer team. That's when they get going. And I think it's time that they move off this Trevor Story experiment, find a replacement. Marcel Meyer needs to get that shortstop position and let him roll. The way they have just put him on and off the burner, it's not that he's not just a top 10 prospect in your organization. This dude was looked at as top 10 prospect in baseball for many, many years. It's frustrating how I don't understand the love for Trevor Story. I know the contract's there. That was old. I believe that was technically the old regime that was in before the past GM that signed Trevor Story. So I think you have to just kind of eat the money or put him on the bench. I mean, at the end of the day, if he's not producing, he's not producing. Looks completely awful. Guys like Rafaela, guys like Meyer, guys like Roman Anthony, they need to be in the lineup. You need to let the young guys roll. That's when Corey is really successful. I mean, look at what he did with the Astros. It's they were all similar. Like some of them had some awards, but all of them weren't really established till that first run. So, not saying they're the same team, but I can see some similarities with how the hitters are made up. So they just got to keep the pitching in the game, and I think the hitting will come around.
Yeah, like you said, they need to play Marcel Meyer a little bit more. I know the stats aren't there right now, but the dude can play. He's just young. He's still trying to figure it out offensively. He's still trying to get, it's hard to get in a routine when you're that young. He's only 23. But like you said, they need to move on from Trevor Story. It seems like he just the at bats look terrible. Everything, the swings
Awful,
long.
dude.
He's not the same guy defensively as he was, a couple years ago with the Rockies. And like you said, Cora has shown the ability to make that change. Cedar Rafael right now is the second best hitter on this Red Sox team, and they put him as the everyday center fielder a couple of years ago, moving on from Jackie Bradley Jr. and all the other guys that they were very high on that weren't producing offensively like they used to. It is going to be interesting, what they do later in the year if they are in the similar spot with Jaron Duran and all these other guys, because Willie Abreu's been raking. They want to figure out and make him a long-term option. They want to find a spot for him where he could play every day and feel comfortable. I think they feel that he is a right fielder, but maybe eventually they want to put him in left field, with the Green Monster. It's just different spots, in that ballpark that are tricky, that guys are very good at defensively, that you just want to make sure you have a lock at that position where, guys feel comfortable and make outs and, are great ball players for them. And they want that in the long haul. For Marcelo Meyer, like you said, it will come together eventually. But I am very concerned about Caleb Durbin. I think that the overall, just the Red Sox the Boston media is getting to his head. Dude's like just been awful. 475 OPS. The at bats have not looked good. He's not hitting the ball well as he used to for them. And eventually, I think that will come around. He's not a bad player. You saw in Milwaukee when he gets more opportunities, he'll flourish. He's getting those opportunities right now, and he's just kind of pressing right now. But yeah, I think it's time to move on from Trevor Story and all these other guys. They're starting to hit. Like, look at the lineup. Wilson Contreras has been a great piece for them so far. 853 OPS, batting 273. He's been a really reliable guy. So I like that they picked him up. They're eventually going to have to move on. Whether it is from Duran, who has been Duran, who's not been very good this year at all. 490 OPS. He came off the bench yesterday. He just looks slower off to me. Carlos Narvaez does not look good at all. So eventually some of these guys are going to have to come through.
Yeah, definitely. And even though Wilson Contreras is kind of a cornball, I appreciate that he actually has some fight and cares. I think that was big. That little dispute, whichever team it was, I don't know why he can't. It was their last series. I can't remember which team it was, where he slid in and it was kind of bang bang. But yeah, they just need to show some more fight. A lot of times they're a stagnant team. They've looked stagnant at times. So we'll see. But once the summer gets rolling, I bet that team's going to start hitting. They just strike out a fuck ton, though. So they got to figure that out. They have 200 strikeouts through 25 games. It's crazy.
Yeah. One question before we move on to the next segment, man. And, just watching Baltimore, right now they're sitting in third. Who do you think finishes higher, Boston or Baltimore? And why do you think that? Let's discuss this.
I think Boston. Just because of the pitching. I'm a pitching host, so I'm always going to take pitching over hitting, longevity-wise. I'm a Guardians fan, so always a little biased there. But I also think the Red Sox have more tools if they need to make a move at the deadline. Also, I just think there's just no way Roman Anthony is going to not be hitting better the rest of the year. I don't see Durant having this many troubles. Maybe he's really in his head. He kind of is. But I don't see Durant having this much trouble going on. I don't see Crochet struggling this much longer. And I just really don't think the Orioles are good in any way. I think their starting pitching is garbage. Their bullpen's trash. I think obviously Gunner's a stud. Alonso's great, but he doesn't really fit. Taylor Ward's a great addition. I'll give him that, but I just don't think Alonso fits in there. And there's just a lot of individual pieces. I just don't like Baltimore at all. I think it's a lot of guys that do the same thing. That's what I would say. There's a lot of guys that do the same thing. It's kind of repetitive.
It seems like for Baltimore, man, it's a lot of overhyped, busted prospects. Brian Mountcastle has been awful, but a guy that I really liked for a long time that has not really produced for them this year, Colton Cowser has been awful.
Yeah.
Dylan Beavers has taken over the role in left field and right field for him. And man, he's just flourished. But Colton Cowser right now, he's one of the worst players in all of baseball offensively right
Crazy.
now. It's crazy. A guy that was, an American League Rookie of the Year candidate a couple of years ago just fell off the face of the planet. But they got guys like Leody Taveras that has been raking for them, broke up the no-hitter against Parker Messick. Jeremiah Jackson has been great for the Orioles.
Yeah, dude's filthy.
He had 4 home runs in 6 games the past week. But I mean, like you said, it's just like the pitching, and like, do you really count on like Kyle Bradish and Tyler Rogers has been Trevor Rogers has been great, but other than him, I mean, like, you really look at that rotation, like, I can't tell you guys that I really feel comfortable in that
Yeah.
rotation. If you compare it to Crochet, who is not going to be in the sevens, like you said, Ranger Suarez has been one of the best, big game pitchers in all of baseball. And then Brian Belo has been really bad, but they also have other guys like Gurley, who pitched yesterday and looked fantastic, other than the double he gave up to Stanton. So I think that other than Pete and Taylor Ward, there's no one I really,
Oh, sorry,
feel
folks. Live
confident
team.
in hitting. No, you're good. Feel confident in hitting in a postseason series either. So just the Orioles have more questions than they do answers for me right now. So I'm
Yes.
picking Boston as well to finish over them.
Yeah, I don't think Boston's as much questions. I think they just suck right now. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe they just suck. But I don't think with that lineup, it just flows really well. They have a lot of guys that do different things. They all can run. And even with like if Sonny Gray, Crochet, and Ranger get hot, and then early can stick with like they're gonna get such good starting pitching numbers, but we shall see. Both two teams that I don't really see making the playoffs, even though I was
Yeah,
kind of high on the Red Sox.
I think the Red Sox will get back into contention. I don't think they'll be in last place. I think the Orioles will eventually fall. And sorry, not the Reds. The Rays are actually, I feel like they're going to trim down a little bit. They've been playing good baseball, but starting to fall off a little bit because they're playing a really, really good Cincinnati Reds team so far. The sixth sitting at 16-8 right now. They're impressive. That they're in last in every offensive category and somehow winning baseball games. But I know you're not high on the Reds, but
I know.
we'll get to them later.
It's just Tito. Just
Yeah,
Tito.
no, I get you, bro. I get you. But I want to talk about our Cleveland Guardians. They came back yesterday. They were down 4-0 against the Astros team that is one of the worst pitching staffs in all of baseball. And they got a lot of questions, right? They're sitting at 9-16. They have a negative 15 run differential, but they have one of the best offenses in all of baseball. And it feels like the script has flipped it for them. They've been one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball for the past decade. They are not this year. Do you think the Astros, the dynasty is over?
Oh yeah, I've thought it's been over pretty much since I would say since last year. Because even like they had a really bad start, I think it was 2 years ago, 2024 or 2023, and they came back and won the division. So it kind of gave me like that little bit of maybe it was like Warriors in 2022 in the NBA, like, oh, they had one more run in them. But let me just say this. I think this would be a great short to cut up so you guys can get inside baseball here. Rolling for the clip in 3, 2, 1. If I told you folks the Astros, Phillies, and Mets and Rockies right now, how would you think those teams stack up wins to losses? Like in a standings, if those four teams Astros, Phillies, Mets, Rockies.
I'd probably say Astros, Mets, and Phillies, but that's just flipping.
Right, like
the
like
Rockies,
last,
don't
right?
they have the better record? Yeah.
You would think the Rockies are last. No, the Rockies have the most wins. They have more wins than the Phillies and Mets. They have the same amount of wins as the Astros, but one less loss. So right now, the Rockies are a better baseball team than the Phillies, Mets, and the Astros. That kind of shows you all you need to know right there. This team can't stop a nosebleed. I think they'd get hit by some college teams. Like they just don't have any pitching. Hunter Brown's going to get so overworked. The bullpen's so bad, and what they little have in the bullpen, like a Brian Abreu, he's still just going to get overworked so much in the beginning of the year. It's such an uphill battle when you don't have enough arms to start the year. This team, this Astros team reminds me exactly of like a patented Mike Trout Angels team. You'll have like one good pitcher, and then the rest of the guys will just give up bombs. Oh, there'll be 4 guys on the team that'll hit 30 homers. But I don't think a lot of those guys will last till the end of the year. Like a guy like Christian Walker, they should definitely dump. But, we'll get to that when it's deadline season. They have time, but they're in like that Braves territory last year, man, of like if you get 10 games behind come May, I mean, you get any sort of momentum and you're head above water, you're only 500. So it's just, baseball's a marathon. You can lose it really easily, very quick. Teams like the Royals, Astros, Mets, Phillies, I would not say the Giants. I don't think the Giants they're playing better baseball. But Red Sox, teams like that, if they don't get going, I mean, it's crazy. Like the White Sox have a better record than that. I'm just looking right now. Like that's crazy. Like
Such a
They
wild.
just haven't tried to. Yeah, they've just rode off the same, like trading for Correa, right? That's a perfect example. They're just like trying to bring back that old bit
Yeah.
that isn't there. And I never blame a franchise for that. The amount of success they got from those guys, I have no issue. I am somebody, I don't believe in the Bill Belichick method. I believe maybe this is why he's the best of all time, probably, and I'm talking to you on a computer. But I always believe that I would give it one more year. If everyone's like together and you got them on contract, I would always run it back for one more and then adjust. But I think the food's expired here and they're ready to move on.
Yeah, I think they should move on. Dude, like you said, this pitching staff, they can't stop a nosebleed. Other
Terrible.
than Hunter Brown and Kiwei Tang, who I didn't really know of until this week, he's been one of the really good relievers they have out of the bullpen, probably the only one they have. But dude, you saw Eniel De Los Santos come in last night, just walk everybody. Spencer Arrighetti is just awful. Mike Burrows, awful. McCullers can't stay healthy. Stephen Oker, awful. Colton Gordon might be the worst pitcher I've ever seen in my entire life. Awful. And
He was
I'm not
pissed he
even,
got the ball taken from him.
yeah, he was. But dude, look at this shit. The teams are slugging almost 500 against them. Or sorry, no, 897 slug. Sorry, I was reading the OBP. So
That's
teams are getting on base
crazy.
almost 500. Teams are slugging almost 900 against Colton Gordon, man. So like eventually the shit already hit the fan for the Astros. I'm thinking, and I want you to, take your take on this. I think they should trade Yordan Alvarez. They are completely done. I
Oh,
don't think
for
there's
sure.
a chance that they come back and make the playoffs, but do you think they should trade Yordan Alvarez?
I would look dead in the face of they're not going to do it, but it'd be such a perfect scenario. I would love to look up at the Pirates and try to get maybe like Bubba Chandler or maybe another guy. You're not going to get like Bubba and Connor, but like maybe get like Bubba Chandler and someone else from that, or send him to hell, maybe even the Reds. Maybe if the Reds want
Yeah.
to move some guys around, they would have to probably piece with Sal, so they're probably not going to do that. But 100%, man, somebody's going to give up a king's ransom for that dude. And Yordan Alvarez is looking like Air Jordan again, so I think you're gonna have to. I mean, his value is gonna be sickly. I mean, I don't how many more years. I'm curious about his contract. I want to look up his
I don't know
contract.
off the top of my head, dude, but like another team that I would like him to be on is the Cardinals. I know they're 14-9. The people could see that as maybe a fluke, but they need more pop other than Jordan
Yeah,
Walker. They don't really have
they
any
have the
except for Burleson
prospects.
and Walker. Yeah, they definitely have the prospects. They don't necessarily have the pitching. I think Dustin May right now might be their best pitcher, but man, the Astros, they're eventually going to have to blow this up because they score all the runs they can, but if they can't stop a nosebleed, you're not going to have success. And I'll just write them off right now. I know April 22nd, right now, the Astros are eliminated from the playoffs. They're the only team I'll eliminate. Maybe the Mets eventually, but I think if
I'll
the
eliminate the
pitching is
Mets
that
too.
bad, yeah. And
I'll do
why is
both.
that? I know that they've been awful, but why would you eliminate the Mets so far?
Before I say that, by the way, Jordan's good for this year and two more. So definitely a contract worth trading for if you're a team in it. Yeah, the Mets are dead. Juan Soto's hurt. He doesn't care to come back. Totally an assumption, but he doesn't give a shit. We've talked about this. I just think the winning the World Series his first year was the coolest thing ever. Might have been the worst thing ever for his career. Because I really just don't think he gives a flying fuck about that at all. I don't think Frankie gives a fuck. I don't care that he hit a home run last night. I don't think he gives a fuck. I don't think he cares to really lead. I don't think he cares to rally the troops. Bo Bichette's not going to do it either. He's a baseball nepo baby who's a very good hitter, but not looking like it this year. He's not going to lead. So who the fuck's going to lead in that locker room? That's respect. Alvarez is too shitty. You're not going to respect a guy like
Yeah.
Hedges. The reason Hedges leads and doesn't hit is because he built that over years and years of respect in the MLB and in this particular locker room. He didn't just come in and say that. So Alvarez, as much as I would love for him to do that, he's not going to be able to do that. So who the fuck? Luis Robert is going to say something? Is Freddie Peralta? Because pitchers can't say that to hitters. There's like that. It's like firemen and policemen. There's always that like, you don't know my job. You don't know my job. My job's harder. My job's harder. somebody on that staff or somebody in that locker room is going to have to pull it together. And I'm telling you, people lead different ways. This is what I've learned with coaching so much. And people joke about Pete Alonso. And I hate that he went to Baltimore because it was just the worst. Like
Yeah,
I hate that because like I just think it's a wasteland. There's not a good it's not a good franchise. It's not a good managed team. I feel so bad for Pete. I wish somebody trades for him and saves him. I would love for him to be in Cleveland, but he's that type of Gronkowski, Pete Alonso fun vibe is leadership in different ways. And it keeps people calm and sane the whole year. And it keeps people happy and going. Dude, these people are just want to kill each other. Like, all these guys are going to do is walk in with their Gucci bags, with their Louis Vuitton douche bags, whatever the fuck they put on. And they're just going to worry about themselves and their stats and all their big contracts that they got. And you know what? Steve Cohen did it to himself. Dude's an idiot.
absolutely.
Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, it took 7 days for God to create the world. Whatever saying you want to say, you're not going to buy a team. That's just not how it works, especially in baseball. Everybody that jokes about the Dodgers and the Yankees, oh, they buy. Most of their all-time players are homegrown. Derek Jeter, Aaron Judge. You look at the Dodgers right now.
Same for the Mets too.
Yeah,
David
Mets,
Wright,
right?
yeah,
David Wright,
Daryl Strawberry.
Jose Reyes, Daryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, good one. You also got with the Dodgers, obviously Clayton Kershaw. So it's like the Mets have done it to themselves. They were in a great position in 2024. They fucked a lot of things up going for Soto. I didn't think they needed Soto. I think it just changed the whole dynamic of that team. They were kind of not an underdog, but they were like their own thing. Like the Mets were their own, kind of like when the Jets had Mark Sanchez and they had that really, really, really good defense and they ran the ball. And it was kind of like, that was kind of what the Giants did. But like they weren't trying to be like Eli and those guys, like having the wide receivers and the Victor Cruzes. Like they were trying to do their own thing. They were trying to develop their own identity. And you have to do that when you're in a double city like that, like the White Sox are doing now. Really impressing me so far through this year, but they're just a depressing ass team. And I think it's better for baseball when the Mets are good. I don't like the Mets. I've never liked the Mets, but I just think it's better for baseball when they're good. I hear people say that about the Browns with football that don't like the Browns. They say the sport's just better when they're winning. The Mets are just fun when they're winning. They always have really special teams. So it's just really special moments. It's just not going to happen this year. And until they figure that out, then they're just going to keep going through. Like Carlos Mendoza is going to be the sacrificial lamb. He's going to get canned eventually during the year. I mean, what do you want him to do? It's like at the end of the day with baseball managers, I don't understand what you want from them. It's like if the guys can't fucking hit the ball, I don't really know what you want from me.
Yeah,
But it's
you
just
can only put the same 9 guys out there and expect different results for so long. And I blame a lot of this on David Stearns and Steve Cohen, right? It's all their wrongdoing. You brought up the Cleveland Browns, right? And we're going to reference this, connect it. Does this not seem like the Cleveland Browns of the MLB? Like, this ball club has so much talent, but they don't build their own identity. They don't build their own culture. They just go all in to win every year. Like, slow it down. Like, play it year by year. Don't go all in and go, hey, I'm going to give, 13 for 700 for Juan Soto, who, didn't fit the dynamic of the team. Sure, he was probably the best player you could possibly get at the in the free agent market. But like you said, it was probably not the best fit, and it's not the best fit for Juan Soto. The best fit for Juan Soto was probably staying in the Bronx because, one, he wants to win, but like at the same time, he just chased the bag. So I don't get it. Some of these guys, and I'm gonna go through the stats. They brought up Carson Bench, who they really liked coming out of spring. 210 OBA, awful. They have the worst OBA in all of baseball right now. Francisco Lindor batting 205. He has been terrible. He had a home run yesterday. I don't really care. I think they're going to have to trade him eventually. I think he's
for
part of the
sure.
wrongdoing.
I think that's your Cardinals, by the way. I think that would be your
Yeah.
Cardinals. I could see that. I think that's like a match made.
Yeah, I mean, they have the pieces to do it too with Mason Wynn and all the other guys that have not been, high pedigree, but they're not producing. Francisco Alvarez is falling off the face of the earth again, only batting 268. Sure, he's barreling the ball 18.2% of the time, but he's kind of fell off the face of the planet. And then always bringing in guys like Tommy Pham. Jorge Polanco was, he's a good ball player, but like it makes no sense. You're bringing in all these old guys that don't fit your club's
Marcus
needs, or
Simeon. It's like,
yeah, like there's no culture, there's no identity to this team. And my question to you, do they finish worse than the Rockies?
dude, no, they won't. There's too much talent on this team, and Soto's going to play again. And I doubt he'll be out the whole year. Ask me in a month. I'll give you a better answer in a month when it's easier. But man, that's a good question. I'll tell you one thing. I think the White Sox will be.
Yeah, I can see the White Sox
I think the White Sox will. I said this early in the year. I think the White Sox will not finish last in the division, and I stick to that.
could be the Royals. Honestly.
In the words of Munetaka Murakami, power, Southside
Power.
power. Dude's
Yeah,
just a bit. 4 straight games with a home run.
he's so
Asian
good, bro.
Kyle Schwarber. I fucking love it, dude. I love a fucking slugger. And Montgomery's a beast. But no, yeah, the Mets. What do you think? Do you think?
Yeah,
Dude, the
absolutely.
Rockies are not bad. They have good
They
talent.
have a really good offense, dude. They're top five, or
And
not
their
top
pitching's
five,
not
but
been
they're highly.
awful.
No, they haven't. A lot of these guys are hitting the ball really hard. I like Bretton Doyle. He's starting to like kind of come back a little
Yes.
bit. I know he's only at 215 batting average, but he's putting up better at bats. Tyler Freeman's been very good. Sorry, I have like a stinger in my eye from the
Oh, you're fine. You're
allergies.
fine. Oh,
But
dude, it's
Mickey
rough out here.
Moniak is a stud, man, and finally putting together a career that is, respectable. Former first round pick, you could have written him off as a
First
bust a couple
overall,
years
yeah.
ago. Yeah, but he's kind of putting together some good quality stuff. Jordan Beck's been really bad for them. Jake McCarthy's been bad for them, but they have all this talent. And man, oh my fault, man. Sorry, guys.
No, you're
We're
good.
experiencing some allergy difficulties.
Dude, it's
How about
rough
TJ
out here.
Rumfield, man?
Yeah, TJ's a
Dude's a
stud.
baller. They have Hunter Goodman that's been, OBA master, top 15 in all of baseball. So, like, they have all this talent. Their pitching hasn't been bad. They're anchored by Katana. So they have the talent to finish higher than the Mets. And I think they will. I think the Mets are just cooked. I think they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
give a fuck. They don't want to be there. They've already given up on the year, and it's done for them. They could do what they did in 24, where because they have the talent, where they flip the script, make the playoffs, win the division, but I don't think that's happening. I think the Mets are finally done.
Yeah, I agree. And I need to see Zach Veen back up. Give
Yeah,
my
dude.
boy more chances.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, seriously, that lineup, like Edward Julian, like they just have so many guys that can start annoying. There's an annoying ass lineup.
Yeah, and Edward Julian was a nice pickup for them, man.
Bears
He
up.
was not great for the Twins, but you always saw the talent, and I thought it was just because one, he didn't play every day until they were always eliminated. So it's like
Yeah.
when you're a young player like that, you're trying to do too much. You're trying to prove yourself when it's like, hey, I'm up when it's April, and everybody else is trying to prove their point and make a mainstay on this roster. But dude, I want to talk about your White Sox for a little bit. They're 9-14, 2-game winning streak, and like you said, Munetaka Murakami, 4 home runs, 4 games. He's just been excellent, bro. Let's talk some Munetaka Murakami for a little bit before we close it out.
Yeah. The reason I'm doing that is just the beautiful swing he has. You could tell that dude, like the Otani invasion in Japan, even before he's in the MLB, just the impact he has, man, because his swing's so perfect. It's one of my favorite lefty swings. He's just able to like hit the ball so fucking hard. Him and Montgomery, just so much pop. You put that together with guys like Vargas, Meridoff, who kind of just like sneaky hitters, Benintendi,
Yeah.
kind of up in the lineup to protect those guys, to let these guys just kind of go boom and do their thing. They're going to strike out. They're going to hit home runs, Southside power. But I just really like this team. They're just trying to find their identity similar to the Rockies. It is April. So, again, we could see a lot of these teams really hitting like 10, 11, 12 game losing streaks. But just the way baseball's just running this year, I don't think we're going to have any like I think the lowest win team's going to have like 70 wins. I know that can sound crazy, but I really don't think we're going to have like 50 win. Maybe like a 68, 67 win team, like a Nationals, or like maybe if the Astros like sell a bunch, or, the Rockies get real cold. But I just see kind of everybody being closer than it usually was. But love the White Sox right now. Obviously, the pitching, there's a lot to be desired, but they're staying within games. Their run differential's solid for what you expect with the White Sox. So just a fun team to watch.
Yeah, It's weird because like the numbers tell you that they're really fucking bad. They're batting 210 as a team, which is the worst in baseball. But the
Sure.
Mets aren't, that far. That the Mets aren't that far ahead, right? They're only in the 220s.
Yep.
But dude, the Everson Pereira is like he's kind of been really good for them. That failed prospect from the Yankees that bounced to the Rays. Now he got a chance with the White Sox, man. He's batting 297, slugging 646. He's got some pop. He's going to be right now for the White Sox. It's all about finding guys that can, be the future. Sam Antonacci, when we saw him in the BBC for Team Italy, is finally up for them, getting reps at some second base, some shortstop. Miguel Vargas has been a little disappointing, but like you said, man, Chase Mydrop, Munetaka Murakami are the future of this ball club. Munetaka Murakami is barreling balls at a 26.2% clip, man. And what that tells you is that he's the real deal. And part of me wants to ask, and I think this is too early to talk about, but because he signed that short of a contract, do the White Sox look to trade him at some point?
That's honestly a really good point. Very much could be. What was it, a 2 year?
Yeah, 2 year, $35 million.
To be honest, that might have been their whole idea the whole time. Dude, if he goes to the Dodgers,
Just crazy.
I'm telling you, but he's not. He hates Otani.
He does, man. He does.
He does. Even though he learned from him, he does deep down. But no, I think he'll stay. They're building really well. They just won a series against an Athletics team that's number one in the division. They just got to avoid those pitfalls, and it's hard with really bad pitching. But we should see, man. I think this trade deadline is gonna be nuts. There's a lot of new contenders. So
yeah, and it feels like, well, for us, like Stephen Kwan will be available. He's not really produced. He's been pretty bad, but like
yeah,
you think about it, like Munetaka is going to probably be available at some point. Jordan Alvarez, like we talked about in the episode, will probably be available. Like there's a lot of former like playoff contending teams. I know the White Sox aren't there, but playoff contending teams with some superstars that are going to get some attention. And dude, I right now the Royals are game behind or half game behind the White Sox for last. They're sitting in last place, excuse me. And I like to play this game, and you've kind of got the trend if you're listening, and you probably got the trend talking. You think the Royals finish in last, or you think the White Sox will? Just based on what we've seen, because the Royals, the numbers and the way they've played, they look awful. Yeah, and like they're kind of significantly worse than the White Sox.
yeah. I think the Royals are the worst team in the division. Them and the Red Sox were like my two sleeper teams in the AL. Look fucking absolutely awful right now. Yeah, they just there's no hitting there. Vinny P sucks. Bobby Witt just leaves a lot to be desired. I always really really liked Bobby Witt. Don't get me wrong. Always thought he was like a little overrated, just a tad at the plate. Super home inflated numbers. Kind of just lives off a lot of like those little drooper like infield singles, kind of putting up his average too. He's not been barreling the ball great. I still think he's top three shortstop in the game. I'm not crazy like that. I just think people were a little too high on him. And he's also getting asked to do a ton.
Dude, yeah.
The only thing I think is the bright spot is that just continuing off the WBC, and I've said this before, Michael Garcia might be the most underrated player in the game. Dude's a fucking stud. Does everything. Even has some pop. That's a dude I would throw many, many prospects at if I was a team and they were willing to sell him. But I think like a guy like Vinny P, they should probably get rid of by the trade deadline, honestly, because I just think, I don't know, dude. He's just like a fat slob. It's like a Manzardo to me, dude. I'm sorry, Manzo. I know my buddies hate this. They're just like they have slow bats. They can't catch up to high fastballs. They're late all the time. When they do barrel it up, but even when they do barrel it up, it somehow always stays on the warning track, but then they somehow become the unluckiest hitters. No, maybe it's because they're not fucking have any sort of muscle of any kind and they're fat slobs.
Discipline, or it's just like,
I'm just not a Vinny P guy, and the whole, I don't know. So yeah, I just don't think they're good, and they don't have a good enough bullpen and like deep enough pitching to kind of get them through that. And people don't realize how hard that is too. Like we take it for granted because we've done it for 10 years as Guardians fans. It's really hard to go out and win 3-2, 4-2, as we like to call it in our one group chat, terrorist ball, in the words of Guardians. Literally just winning games in the worst, most disgustingly ugly ways you can ever imagine in your life that you can barely look at the TV screen. People don't realize how hard that is to do for the players. A lot of teams are built for it, like systematically, like they have the pitching and everything. Like the Royals probably could do it, but they don't. They don't have the managing. They don't have the mindset. Similar to when we talked about the Mets and the Browns, that's a culture that's built. When you come to the Guardians, you play Guardians ball. You play Tribe ball. That's what's expected. When you come to the Yankees, like them or not, you get rid of the beard. Or I think they brought that back or got rid of it or whatever.
They brought
But
that
back in the
back.
day,
It's low key so stupid.
yeah. It's like, but like they have like, you wear the pinstripes. You have a system. If you're on Chicago, you have the Cubs, you have a system. That's what good cultures do. We'll see. But
Yeah, dude, this Royals team is low key just dog shit offensively, but pitching it's insane.
it's
Which
really
is
bad.
like find a middle ground here. Like it's there's no. It's so confusing to me how they are this bad offensively with some of the names they have. Dude, Jack Caglianone's been pretty good for them, and nobody's talking about him. He's finally like figuring it out. He's barreling the ball 17.8% right now. He's averaging one of the highest exit velos in all baseball. Hitting 269 with the 700 OPS. And dude, he's finally catching on, not chasing as much out of the zone. Kind of the hitter we saw at Florida. Very patient, very, very well, disciplined at the plate, looking for his pitch, looking to drive in the gap. Like you said, Cal Garcia's been great, but another guy that I really like, Carter Jensen, their young catcher,
Yes.
finally getting everyday at bats because, unfortunately, Salvador Perez is washed. He's bottom 5 in like every category. He is not barreling the ball. It is sad to see. He's barreling the ball Sorry, that was Vinny Pasquantino. Jesus, Vinny is barreling the ball 7% of the time.
Bro, I'm like he's so like he swings a wiffle ball bat, dude. Yeah. Like he's so fucking bad. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people are so fucking high on him. Like the WBC thing was fun, whatever. But like,
yeah,
dude, my God, man, he's just like so fucking bad, and he's so stiff. I'm so sick of big, stiff lefty first baseman. I hate those. I hate those so much. Do you know who I don't know what I hate more in sports? That archetype, the big lefty fucking oof that doesn't barrel anything, or the stupid big white big man in basketball that can only get rebounds. That's like not European skilled, like a Cody Zeller. Yeah, or like a big stiff linebacker who I'm sorry, Tough. Yeah, I gotta call you out, man. He was the worst. I mean, Tough would kill someone for you. But I mean, he was. I respect him. No, I respect him too much to call him out. But yeah, that type of player, sadly. But no, it's just even like an Eichenberg, I can't call out. I know he's an Iggy boy. You don't like him, but I can't call him out. I love those Ohio State linebackers. But no, seriously, it's just I'm so sick of these guys. Like, just if you don't like, you can see it with the eyes, man. We've watched enough baseball. Like, it's just the bat speed and the path is just terrible. It's so bad. They're a wet dream for a pitcher in an ABS system. Like, if I raise 2 on Vinny, his fat ass isn't getting down for a curveball. I'm fucking dropping it off the face of the planet. I'll spike that shit off like 5 feet in front of the mound, and he'll probably at least lunge towards it. Like I'm just so sick of this, and it's sad to see because as a baseball fan, that Royals team's really talented, but they just have this massive crater in the lineup, and I think them getting to that playoffs was the worst thing for them because they weren't ready.
Sure.
They weren't ready.
They were ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and I think if you asked me, let me tell you this. This is the weirdest question I just thought of because both teams are kind of completely different right now. If you asked me 2 years ago, if the Royals after this postseason, and if somehow I could go to the future and see the Reds after their first postseason this past year and their like upcoming years, which ones would look better going into the future, I would not have told you the Reds. I mean, the Reds look 9 times better right now, and they're deeper, more talented in the past 2 years. Like and I know the 2 completely different teams that just came to the top of my head, or even like the Pirates or the White Sox, the Twins. I mean, the Twins are head and shoulders above where the Royals should be. So yeah, the Royals are in conversations with the Astros. I mean, I thought the Astros would suck anyway. I think people were too high on them anyway. That was one of my good unders, but I think they're in conversation with them and the Mets. Astros were the most disappointing teams in baseball right now.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And like, I just want to say, like, we could put a gravestone next to Salvador Perez. Elias Diaz is getting at bats right now for the Kansas City Royals at
It's
catching
tough.
and DHing.
He
So
should not be able to
Rip
catch.
Falvey, yeah, he should not. But dude, Lane Thomas, thank you for your great postseason work. He's fucking terrible. This is a guy I thought used to be good. This study needs to be taken, bro. He hasn't barreled the ball all year this year. Like, he's awful. I don't
Nah,
know what
dude.
he did.
He had a voodoo doll of Scooball. I'm sorry. Hey, can I also say something?
Yeah.
As Guardians fans,
Mm-hmm.
3 things I want to say. Oh, that was weird. My finger looked really weird there. 3 things I want to say. 1, I don't care that no, I do care. Thank you for hitting the home run. I can still say he was absolute dog shit in one of the worst trades of all. Oh, just because it ended up. You're so lucky he was the one to hit the home run, people that say that, because that was the only thing he ever fucking did. That home run in game 1 home run that we didn't even need. The only thing he ever did in Cleveland. Amazing. Only thing he ever did in Cleveland. Number 2, to back his point and give him credit, and Rajai Davis and every other moment pretty much. I'm so sick of fans when it comes to Rajai Davis, the winning streak. I don't care we didn't win the World Series. Sports is about moments. Moments last longer than championships. I don't give a fuck what anybody tells me. What won us the championship? The shot, right? That technically got us the points over. What do people remember most? The block. Okay? It's about fucking moments.
Sexuals, bro.
Yeah, but but like seriously, that shows you, like, even though, like, at the end of the day, the goal is to win championships, like, the things you remember most about sports are moments in sports. Now, a moment could be winning a championship, but like an amazing run all the way up to it, like, like Miami, Florida, for instance, this year. Should they be upset about their year? I mean, they took out the defending champs. They had a great run. They got to a final drive. It's moments in sports, and I'm just so, like, they brought Rajai in for a game. I think it was one of the Orioles games. It was maybe like Friday,
Yeah, it
and he was
the,
talking,
the Friday night.
and it was just so fun to see and hearing all the stories. And then I just go on Twitter and see all this bullshit. Oh, we didn't win the World Series. Oh, we didn't win the World Series. Okay, so you're saying, like, if Steph hit a 3 and he hit another one at the buzzer and we lost Game 7, that whole series and the shot and the block wouldn't have meant anything. Like, just like dude, I'm so, like, David Fry's home run, John Kenzie Noel's home run. Like, I'm still gonna remember that, where I was, like. So younger sports fans that are listening, don't let old heads or any bums tell you that, because that's a stupid Cleveland mentality that I hate. Remember the good moments. Do you know who treats sports like that? Do you know what city treats sports like that? Do you really want to become Boston, where everything's a championship? Well, or New York, yeah, but Boston, where, like, when you win that much, that is what it becomes. It is Ohio State. Do you want every team to be Ohio State football? Do you want to be Ohio State football fans this year?
No.
The whole state can, yeah. People just got to be fucking happy, dude. Every year I get older, I'm so happy to have the Indians and the team we have, because at the end of the day, the team that plays the most is, and the Cavs and what they've done and rebuilt too, without LeBron. Those teams play so much. I'm just so thankful I have like 240 days a year that I can watch actually a good product of sport, for the most part. Even though the NBA is not great, but I still really like the Cavs. And honestly, people, shut the fuck up if you're not on this ride. Like, I'm so sick of this, dude. Like, real Tribe fans know. Like, when we see each other, it's like, we know. Like, we all know when we're in the district. But sorry, that's that just drives me.
That's a good point, bro.
That drives me nuts, dude. My God. Oh, and the third thing, Bazana does not need to be up this year, and it's okay if he's not. Everybody needs to fucking hold their horses.
Yeah,
everything will be okay.
Let him play.
I know everybody else is up. This is just how they do things. Frankie was the same way. It'll be okay. Okay? Like, relax.
Let it play out. Let it play out, fellas.
In the words of Aaron Rodgers.
That's all I got for you, my man.
All right. I'm done. I'm fucking pissed now. That got me almost going like the Scooball rant about a month ago.
Dude, that shit was wild.
It just drives me nuts.
Yeah. But that's all I got for the show, my man. From Andrew Dagostino, that's my co-host, Brian Gross. We'll see you next time on Beer and Ball. Crack open your favorite beverage. This is Beer and Ball. We'll see you next time. We'll see you Friday.
See you guys. Dude, it was a tweet. It was a tweet I saw.